want to reflect how sponsorship has become a driving force of this transformation. To do so, we are joined by inspiring voices, 5 of these sponsorship voices. So here they are. Isa Restom, first of all, Senior Brand Director of Adidas, a brand that has been by the side of athletes from left to right. Thank you very much. From the beginning, as you know, Adidas is there and remains at the same place, understanding the needs, creating specific collections, and giving visibility to their achievements, always without the distinction of gender. Magdalena Frag is as well in this second panel. Magdalena Frag, Director of Marie Claire Spain, thank you for being a media outlet committed to giving visibility to women's sport through inspiring stories, helping turn athletes into global role models for new and current generations. And also we have three ladies: Sandra Horst, Chief of Corporate Affairs, Brand and Sustainability at Belling; Cristina Galvez, Marketing Manager at Bimbo; and Annie Gill, Marketing Director at Real Steel. 3 great examples of how very different sectors can share this commitment to equality, taking this challenge beyond sport and into society. Thank you very much, ladies. A pleasure. And we also invite, yes, a big warm applause. Well deserved. Women, and their places on the top of the wall of this sponsorship and the brand's wall. So we also invite to the stage a man, Edward Elliott, Head of Experiences and Sponsorship at Iberdrola, to assume this role of moderator. So thank you very much, Edward. The poll is yours, and related to all these fields we want to share. Thank you very much. A big applause for this second panel, sponsorship and the huge and extreme commitment coming from the brands. Okay, let's go.
Great, welcome and thank you. I think that was the most unique act that I've had to follow on every panel. With that in mind, we've been hearing from some of the best athletes in the world and hear about their stories. And when talking about women's sports and the growth of women's sports, they are the figureheads of it, but it is equally crucial to have the brands, the sponsors behind them to help provide that financial support, and the media as well to help provide that visibility. So we'll start off by talking about the growth in recent years, and we were talking about, previously Abby was mentioning about the last 10 years and that growth, and that's exactly the time that at Iberdrola that we've been sponsoring women's sports as well, so from 2016. And so the growth in those last 10 years, and I think, and speaking for Spain, and I think as a panel we'll be speaking largely about the situation here in Spain, but that growth has been transformational, where there weren't the recourses available. It was difficult to see on television, to find the results of different women's sporting events. So I sort of remember being in the office and trying to call up different people, try and find them, because you couldn't find the results anywhere. And so Iberdrola has been part of that growth for the last 10 years. To give context for those of you who aren't aware, we sponsor 35 different national federations here in Spain. So that's with the leagues and the national teams. But in this period, across those federations that Iberdrola is sponsoring, we've seen an 80% growth in the licenses of the federated female athletes. So that growth is there, that change is massive, and to hear more about it, go on to our esteemed panel. So start with Isa. Adidas has also been accompanying women's sports from the beginning, right? So how have you been experiencing and witnessing this transformation?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, good afternoon to everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here and to be part of this. I will say that when we look at this internally, as a company, we haven't seen that much change, and it's just because we have been doing this from the start. We have 76 years within the company, and our founder, Adi Dassler, really had the best product for the athletes, and we do this without disregarding if it's gender, any other things. So in the end, for us, it's super important to give the best product to our athletes. So internal, I would say, not much change. But the truth is we're not blind. There have been major changes outside, and we can really see how many other brands are joining these efforts. We can see how the female sports is very much visible now, and society is really leaning and trying to see and give that visibility and platform for the female athletes. So it's fantastic. It's a fantastic moment to be, and we're super proud to see how everything is shaping together for a better future, yeah.
Great, amazing, thank you. And Sandra, from your point of view, how have you seen that transformation?
Hello. Of course, like as you were saying, like there has been like a big bet during the last year for women's sports. From Vueling, one of the things that we did was with FC Barcelona Women. We wanted to do something that was also like we could like give additional visibility and not just like looking what we could take from the team. But I also think we have a responsibility to give visibility to all these teams and all these women in sports. So for us, it was, we felt very proud of being able to be like the first airline to have like a women's team like on an airplane, like circulating all Europe. And one of the important things was like that image is there every day. People are able to see it, like understand what this team represents, and work on that. So I think it's important that as partners we also find ways of like helping like them grow and keep on investing from all the sides on them.
Mm-hmm. And following that line of sort of supporting the growth, Christina, how have you seen in the past 10 years the nature of the sponsorship of women's sports itself change?
Yeah, so a decade ago, the sponsorship for women's sport were more sporadic or more reactive. So today, companies, I think, that understand that supporting women in sport is a commitment, a real commitment to social progress and values such as health, perseverance, and inclusion, of course. So it's not just about a visibility, it's also about the depth of the change. So today, female athletes are social and cultural role models, and the brands play or has to play, I think, an active role in this transformation. At Grupo Bimbo, we really believe in this transformation power of the sports and its ability to inspire new generations. That I think that this is super important and relevant. And we have some programs like Campeonas de Sueños and El Sueño Bimbo, that are global initiatives from the Grupo Bimbo in total, in global company, designed to open doors for girls who dream of becoming professional footballers. So I think that we have to inspire new generations of young females and motivate them to pursue their sporting future. So.
Yeah. Excellent. It's that involvement of being part of the change as well for the sponsorships there. Anahi, for taking a different perspective here, and so from a beauty brand's perspective, how has the way that we look at women athletes changed in the last decade?
Well, actually, it has changed a lot, because if we look back 10 years ago, all the dermatologic or cosmetic brand only have actresses and models as brand ambassadors. And actually, there were few brands that have sport profiles, but they were men. For me, that was crazy, actually. It was, how can a brand that represents women can only have men as a brand ambassador? That's why on Real Still we decided to change the story. And have you heard those women? They are fantastic. They have really incredible stories. So they can really represent values as resilience and powerful. So those values are values that a brand really wants to be with. So for us, it was not a tactical action. It was really a strong decision that we decided to do, to stay alone and to give to those voices, the strength to be here.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that growth, and that's paid off. It's a decision which which has worked well. To close off this topic of looking backwards, we've had the different sponsors here, but from the media perspective, how have you seen the public interest evolve, and what has been the change on that end?
Hi everyone, and first of all, thank you for having us on behalf of Marie Claire. I don't know how familiar you are with the magazine, but actually we've always been empowering women. It's in our DNA, so it's not a new subject to us. But yeah, I've seen many differences on how the articles about women in sports are treated. Like, I would say that before it used to be like, okay, so someone won a championship or someone is a winner or something like that. But now our readers are more interested in the whole story. Who is that person behind this achievement? How are they? What did they do? What were their struggles? So yeah, like before, it was something like inspirational, of course, but it wasn't a part of the game. And now I feel like these topics are treated in a different way, like a more human way. Because I feel like real women want to see real stories, and basically that's it.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So, I mean, I think from what we have heard and from what many of us here in the room will be aware of is that there has been this transformation. There is this transformation that's ongoing. And I think when talking about sponsors as well, it's important to think about purpose as well, and why these different brands are present in women's sports. For us at Iberdrola, when we started 10 years ago, it wasn't a question about return on investment. It wasn't there. You didn't have that available in the sport. So it was a different mission, right? And I'm sure we'll touch on some of what from the other brands. For Iberdrola, it was supporting equality and helping build the growth of the sports. And that, at a very basic level, it was different federations. And this applies to smaller federations that might not have sort of applied to how to promote different visibility of women's sports. And now, 10 years down the line, of the 35 sports that we sponsor, between 2 and 5 of them might actually have a return on investment that we're starting to see. So it's a long road, it's a long path, but I think it's one that brands shouldn't look to from the start, but if you accompany them along the way, that growth potential is there. So in that, what role might we as brands play in making that change? I want to go back to Isa and Adidas, which is all about giving the best to athletes. And so what does it mean to support athletes without that distinction of gender?
Thank you for hello. There you go. So thank you for the question. Yeah, of course, our main drive, it is, in fact, to create this best product with the innovation, with materials, with engineering, to make sure that our athletes, they do have the best possible product. So we can ensure they have the best performance, of course. So for us, it has been great ever since on our culture, for sure. And what we do is that definitely it's across the genders, but we have done some things that are specifically for her, for sure, because physically they're not the same. 2 seconds. This thing was beeping. So in the end, it's, yes, of course, we do across genders, but then we have some specifics. And some examples is we just launched the Spark Fusion boot, which is a boot for football that is specifically made for her because there's differences. I mean, we're not the same. So we make sure that we have 3D studies of the female anatomy to make sure that they have exactly what they need over there. And this is what we just launched this year. And this is not new. We have been done this already for a while. We did this in 2022 too with the Bra Evolution. Probably saw a couple of pictures of that campaign. It was a big wig one. What we did is that we took all the bras that we had in the company and we completely tossed them. We re-engineered the whole thing and we make sure that the female athlete had the right support for every sport. So for that, it's super important for us to really deliver the best product so they can do your job. And then girls as strong as what we saw earlier, they can do a fantastic job on the court.
Yeah, excellent. And so tailor-focused really towards towards men, towards women in that sense is providing that support without distinction of gender. Sandra, from Welling's point of view, the purpose in sponsorship is linked to equality and equality opportunities as well. And how would this translate into concrete sort of sponsorship campaigns?
Yeah, so for us, like aviation, first of all, like a lot of relationship with the sports, like you need resilience, teamwork, everything needs to be really orchestrated. But one of the things that happen in aviation is that a lot of people don't think they can have a career there. Like when people think about pilots, they think about, I think like what is more visible, it's pilots, but when you think about like aeronautical engineers, like tech engineers. We have the biggest innovation hub of an airline here, so you don't think of women. So that is how everything started. We really wanted for people to understand that that is an option for them, for girls to understand that that is an option for them. So for me, the most important thing is that things are real. Like you cannot do a sponsorships if then you are not committing within the company. Like we have the management committee at Welling is more than, right now it's 50% women, but a year ago we were 72% women. So the men in the management committee, they used to complain about discrimination. But that happens in the management committee and it can look good, but then when you look at all the levels, director level, manager level, the entire company, we have complete parity. So I think it's very important like to work on these kind of agreements to give visibility, to help make them happen, but it has to be aligned with what's happening inside the company. That being said, when you are, it's real and it's not just like something that you do because it's a wish, then what happens is like, okay, that gives you, these kind of sponsorships give you a full room to give visibility to these roles. And I think when you speak with, for example, football players, like women that are football players, they tell you the same, that years ago they couldn't imagine they could do that. And when you ask a pilot, they tell you the same. So I think it's important that we keep on working to give visibility and to create reference and role models. And for us, aviation has that. Has like a lot of women that are doing amazing things every day. A lot of people cannot even imagine that they are doing.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating, and it's sort of the importance of having that credibility within your own brand, and you have that, and then you can translate that credibility through the messages of equality in the support of women's sports. Anahi, from your vision, again from a different sector, and how does the brand connect with girls or women who see in sport a reflection of themselves?
We had been working for the last 50 years, studying the best way to give solution to have a healthy skin. So for us, it connects totally with the sport because sport, it is about health. And not only health, it is also about improvement and consistency, values that we want to be reflected on our brand. So actually, it is quite easy it is an organic match, I will say, because sport women can also be a great amplifiers of messages that are really important and have to be spread as use sun protection to look up your skin, or visit your dermatologist. So we want them to use their voice to spread that message to everyone, and especially to young women and girls.
Right. Excellent. Christina, going back to the aforementioned Sueños Bimbo, tell me more about that from how that change and difference from advertising and driving social change.
Yeah, so the purpose, I think, of the Grupo Bimbo is to nourish a better world, and support for women's sport allows us to promote female football talent, gender equity, and the importance to adapt a healthy lifestyle, through nutrition and sport, of course. So some of our key initiatives, as you have said, include being the main sponsor of Football Club Barcelona Femení, so since 2022, and a global partner of the club, as well as having Aitana Bonmatí as our global ambassador. So this partnership makes us proud because we share values such as effort, teamwork, and perseverance. And our vision has always been to help girls from a young age fostering confidence and talent and equal opportunities. So this type of initiatives that we have the main objective to help to these girls, no, to grow up in her wishes of be players of football and company, no, to be able to give him some path to follow and achieve their dreams. So I think that we want to continue being an active agent, promoting the development of female talent to create more equal communities, as we have done in the last 3 years. So with this type of initiatives.
Yeah. So it's not just about sort of putting the brand out there; it's about creating purpose and pathways within it. Marilena, what responsibility do the media have to help keep building this momentum that we've just talked about and that growth?
I think we have a huge responsibility because in a way, the media are the ones who decide what gets remembered and what gets forgotten. So, but I feel like basically it's the same goal and purpose for everyone, both the brands and the media, is that our message has to be consistent. Like our articles or our stories have to be consistent, and we have to know that the women's athletes deserve the same quality of narrative or the same subjects, the same covers as any other topics. It basically has to become a part of the game, and I feel like it's the same for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So moving on a bit to our next topic, and one of the things that we've touched on with a few examples here is the importance of role models within sport. And from my personal experience in many years in the sector, you talk to slightly older athletes, and their role models were male athletes. And I had this point written down, and then Abby was talking about it. And so apologies for putting you in that bracket. But it's different now when you're talking to some of the younger athletes, 17, 18-year-olds. They now are having those role models to look up to, and that is something that is being created. And one of the examples here in Spain that we witnessed through the work we're doing at Iberdrola. We have 35 brand ambassadors, and through that we look to give them different visibility and hosting lots of events. And before the Euros in England a few years back, we were hosting an event in one of the main squares in Madrid, and we'd been doing some tournaments with kids, and the winners of the tournaments, we'd take them to England to watch the tournament. And so the final of the tournament was in Plaza Colón in Madrid. And we were bringing out Alexia Putellas and Irene Paredes from the Barcelona team and from the Spanish national team out there to do an event, to meet the winners and everything. And so we planned it, and being a public event, we brought out, we had one person for security, right? So this is good. We've done lots of events, one person security because it's a public event, there's a few people, but it'll all be fine. Oh boy, we were wrong. and this was one of the points, and it was the growth of Alexia, and there were crowds and crowds storming, and we had all of Iberdrola's sponsorship team as sort of there, doubled up as security and as bodyguards, and having to sort of push the crowds back. And after the athletes left and sort of we were taking everything down in the square, it was one of those moments of realizing, wow, things are really changing here. The scale and everything is changing from all of that. So that's a kind of story that we've seen from Iberdrola. But going back to the topic of role models, Isa, sort of what does it take for a sportswoman to become that global role model? And what does Adidas do to contribute to helping them get there?
Oh, fantastic. So I would say there are two main things. It's all about sponsorship and visibility. So when we talk about sponsorship, for example, in our case, we do sponsor many clubs and feds and partners. We have Aitana Bonmatí, which, by the way, we're super proud of her. She made an amazing third Ballon d'Or. It's fantastic. And more than a sponsorship with these players, it's a partnership. We take them hand in hand. We make sure that they have the right product, the right technology. We make sure that they know what they need to use. So for us, it's super important that not just a sponsorship, but it's a partnership. And of course, it doesn't stay there in football. We have a lot of other partnerships. I mean, we're with Vicky Lopez. We have the Spanish Federation too, the female one, and the male one too. We do have, for example, Agueda, we have a bunch of names that I can name. Maybe I will take all day, but I won't do that, don't worry. But in the end, we really take these sponsorships really seriously and make sure that we have them hand in hand and we take them there. And then on the visibility part, it's so important to tell stories, to create platforms, to let them shine. You know, they're amazing doing what they do, so for us to create stories along with them is so important. And we did that with You Got This campaign for the Euros. It was a fantastic turn of faith because we ended up with a campaign that it was with Aitana Bonmatí, and then we have Alessia Russo there, and it was the final, so you bet we were celebrating, of course. But then it was a fantastic campaign because they were talking about how they can inspire themselves with rivalry. So it wasn't like a fight for power, it was like, you inspire me, I inspire you, let's go together and do this. So it's a fantastic way to see things, and I think the way we tell them stories, we give them visibilities, platforms, they will shine, and then we will make sure that our young athletes see that and get inspired.
Yeah, no, it's excellent, and it's that last point that you were saying is you give them the platform and they will shine, and they will tell the stories better than anyone else. Christina, following the example here of Aitana Bonmatí, who you also sponsor, but you mentioned you also sponsor the Barcelona women's team. So what is the difference between supporting a team and an individual athlete, and how does that reflect in the different sponsorships?
Yeah, so I have a real wow fact, no, that it's in Spain. So we have known that in Spain, 70% of the girls quit football between 16 and 18 years. So due to lack of support, on a lack of a role model, as could be Aitana Bonmatí, but a lot of players, of course. So recognizing this high dropout rate, we extended our global initiatives, no, and created all the global initiatives that we have mentioned. And one of them is Supercopa Bimbo 3 de 11, Supercopa Bimbo 3 of 11, to power and to recognize, to inspire new generations of young female footballs and motivate them to continue their future, no? So I think that the difference that you are talking about, of course, it's you have to be partner and you have to be in your ADN as a company, you have to be the things that you are promoting through Aitana Bonmatí or through another institutions or players. So you cannot be only a parent, you have to be, and then you can play us with this type of roles, no? It's in Spain we say no solo ser, también parecer. So both, the combination of both has to be, because if you don't have this in your ADN as a company, you cannot show this because it's not real. So I think that this is like a bit the difference. Yeah,
so whether you're with a team or with an athlete, you have to really be involved and be a part of it. Sandra, so you took to the skies with the Barca plane that you were talking about previously, and so tell us more about that campaign and how it connects with girls of following the footsteps of all the athletes there plastered on the plane.
Well, before we were talking about how important is visibility, like giving them this visibility. Just to give you an example, the plane, up until today, 380,000 people have flown with that plane. And I can tell you that, I won't say every day, because sometimes it doesn't happen, but maximum every 2 days, someone sends me a picture and says, I'm boarding this plane. So I think this is very important. Like, it's a message, it's like something that also helps like spreading the visibility. I think, especially people from here, every time that they are I don't know, in Rome, in Amsterdam, and they take a plane, and they realize it's this plane. It's like all that proudness that also arises. So I think, as I was saying, it's a responsibility, but 380,000 people have flown with that plane, more than 2,400 flights. And this plane is circulating around 30 countries nowadays. So this is what it's also helping on. One thing that when we signed Aitana as global ambassador, like we all did, one of the things we said, okay, what can we do with her that it's different? So one question was like, has any airline in the world has ever put in the name of the plane to a soccer player, a woman? And all the planes have a name, like all the planes in the world, like they have a name. A single airline has thought of that. So Aitana is the first athlete, soccer player, that she has her own plane with her name on it. I remember the day that she was like just unveiling the name. I show it to my daughter. As an example, because one thing that I think is also very curious is I have 2 kids, 4 years and 5 years, and they've never been to a men's match. They've only gone to the women's match because, I don't know, like the ambience, like everything that goes on there, I think like the feeling is very nice. So it's about this, like looking for things that we can do as brands that are gonna also make them be bigger than they already are.
Yeah, exactly, and it's you know, it's quite unique, isn't it, to have an option of a plane and say, hey, this is going to be. Now I'm going to go and ask Madalena now about media, but you know, this is creating your own media platform and saying, hey, we're going to provide this visibility and we're going to put it all over the world. So that's an exciting campaign and a way of really creating that visibility. And staying on the topic of kind of visibility and media, Madalena, so in what way can a cover, an interview, a report be so decisive in creating these different role models, and how can media and brands work together to multiply this effect even more?
I feel like it's very important. Like in Marie Claire, we go out every month. That means we have 12 covers per year. I would say that every day I get 10 to 20 emails like, hey, can I be your next cover? So this is maybe impossible to do that, you know, we cannot work that much. But there are photo shoots, covers, interviews, and everything, and I understand it's very inspirational, to be honest, because when you're a little girl and you see someone there on the cover that is not a model, is not an actress, and maybe it's a bit different in her career, I mean, from what we used to think of as fashion magazines, then you're inspired, and then maybe when you're little you think, oh, I can do that too, you know, so that's very, very important. And when it comes to the brands, it's just a perfect combination, because as a magazine, we provide the storytelling, credibility, and the brand gives us the resources, the scale maybe we don't have. So that's a perfect match. Like a few months ago, we did a photo shoot with one of the, I'm not going to say which one, but one of a very high fashion brands with a women's athlete, and that was a huge thing because the athlete, it was so funny because we used to work with models and actresses, they don't care about the clothes. And to her, it was like, oh my God, is this really what I'm going to wear? And I'm like, yeah, finally someone who's excited about that, you know? And that was the same for the brand, because the brand was like, wow, this is so exciting. Like the interview is even different because, you know, like I'm doing like all of the cover interviews. And well, most of the times those are like yes or no answers. And when you have like a professional athlete, you have a whole story there. So it's just a win-win situation, I would say.
Yeah, no, those are the kind of stories that you see across in women's sports, and at the end of the day show that and go back to the point that we previously said, if you give them the platform, if you let them tell their stories, then they're incredible stories. We were hearing some of them on the previous panel, and you know, that's something I think that the public want to hear there. So to wrap up, you know, we looked back at previous 10 years. We talked about the importance of role models, and I know we don't have a ton of time, so you have about a minute each to answer the question. But if looking forward and into the future, how do you imagine women's sports in another 10 years' time, and what steps do we need to be taking to get there? So if we start with you.
Here, hello. So no, I mean, we see in future 10 years, hopefully this evolving even more and getting closer and closer to inclusion and equality, for sure. From our case, we have a truth belief that we need to keep on innovation. Innovation is not still, so we're going to continue to provide all the best products for the athletes all the time, like over and over, until we have every time a better product, right? So it happens every season. So for us, it's about creating the best product, for sure, keeping and pushing, leading the way, and being a true partner to our athletes and providing that platform for them to tell the stories.
Yeah. Madeleine?
Well, for me, I would like to speak, in 10 years, you said, right? So in 10 years, I would like to speak about sports, just sports, not women's sport, where a story is based on someone's talent, not someone's gender. So that's first of all. How can we achieve that? From my point of view, for us, it's the storytelling, because the way, what I was saying, no, the way you are describing the person, the article, and the place that this story deserves. The second one is the education, because we need to educate younger people on that. And the last one is the long-term commitment, because it cannot be just like a one-time shot.
Yeah, thank you. Sandra?
I think they said it all. Like, I hope that in 10 years, we don't talk about what companies support women or not, that it's just like such a normal thing that we don't even have to have this event. So I hope this happens, and we just share and talk about sports, talent, and not even equality, because it's there already.
Thank you.
I think that it's what they have said. So I think that has to be something that it's not circumstantial, has to be structural. And I hope that in 10 years it will be structural, and we don't have to talk about global initiatives with the name of a woman or with the name of some girls that has to be helped. No, has to be a global and talk about sports and not only women's sports. So has to be structural and not circumstantial. So I hope in 10 years we can see this.
Yeah. Well, actually, for me, the future started yesterday. We are all here writing them, so we have to support it. It is not just a trend. It is not something just to put on a paper. It is something that we have to act for it. And actually, because I want that for my daughter, the role models to be, they have to be these women.
Yeah. Great, and yeah, so in order to kind of wrap it all up, I mean, I think these things are all crucial, but at the end of the day, if we've seen the growth that has been over the past few years, over the past 10 years, looking forward in 10 years, I'm really excited, that with the exponential growth, with the support of different companies that have come in these past years and that are going to be coming in, I think what we can see in 10 years, I think we'll meet a lot of these different goals and objectives that we'll be saying. I think it will be, women's sports will be an exciting place. So on that note, a big round of applause for all our speakers here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What a pushing panel session. Thank you very much. Thanks to brands Adidas, Welling, Bimbo, Real Steel, and huge media as Mary Claire. Thank you very much. Well done, Edward Elliott as a moderator.